Well, frankly, one of the, you know, the managed care organization, community health partnership that's going out of business because the state won't renew their contract, basically, you know, was making some decisions without going through the plan process. Just making arbitrary decisions about how many hours of support somebody was going to get. So for example, somebody who was in a group home and receiving basically all support outside of the daytime programming that they might receive in a day program or at a job, what was happening is they might be getting 18 hours a day of support. Well, they were going to put them in an apartment where they were going to get 8 hours a week. And it didn't make sense. And you know, some of the providers were looking at this and saying, you know, you may think you can do that, but I know these people, they can't get by with that level of support. So there were irrational decisions being made, which makes me think that the problem is a little higher up above the managed care organizations, that it's really at the state level in terms of how much money is being allocated for those services. And is it bottom up or is it top down? Because when I see these reports that I've been looking at that say that, you know, there's a group of chief financial officers of these managed care organizations that get together on a monthly basis and they set reductions for funding as a target, and then they go and they cut rates based on whatever benchmark amount they are supposed to cut, whether it's 15%, 20%, or whatever. And that's the basis for cutting funds, instead of, you know, this person doesn't need as much because they've gotten better. That would be the basis for cutting funds, not because somebody has a preset target to reduce funding. And so, you know, I get pretty passionate about this because I see how it's affecting people. People are terribly worried. That's why they're calling ERW. You know, that's why they've gone to Rock Cradle to be asked to be represented. And it's a terrible shame that these people have to go through that.
Yeah. Is the funding provided per capita? I mean, you made a comment that if there's 4 people, that make one person receive the notice, is that allow them to, I guess I don't understand that. I mean, would everybody receive the notice?
Not necessarily, no, because as they're looking at their rates and setting their rates, it depends, you know, what we're seeing is that it depends on the individual with the needs the most care.
That's what
it's more costly.
Yeah.
And so then if they remove that person, then the rates might be able to come down and maybe able to sustain.
They get targeted. And essentially, they targeted the
The
high
people
cost.
that need the benefits the most are the ones that are being punished
Yes.
first.
And that's a concern for us, because as we're looking at the statewide system of family care, get on my soapbox, if you will, is you know, we're constantly advocating for people to live in the community with supports. And what we're finding is that with individuals with serious challenging behaviors, it's proving to be difficult because there's not enough providers out there who can provide the supports that people need to be successful. And so, you know, so as we continue to talk about community placement and community living, you know, we always get the argument that, well, it's great, but for individuals who need more intensive supports living independently in the community, there's no provider out there to provide services to them because there's not enough, the reimbursement rate is so low. So, you know, so for individuals with serious complex issues,
Is it, I mean, are they trying to say it's cheaper to put them in a nursing home?
well, it's just that there's no services available to people.
Well, you know what happens, and I've seen this time and again, you even wrote an article about it, I called it Family Care's Revolving Door. Because what happens is you get a high-cost provider who gets targeted by the MCO because they cost too much. And they go to this high-cost provider, there's one that is a member of our association, I've heard this over and over again, and they say, your rate is too high. We found, without regard to person-centered planning process, input from guardians or anything, we found a cheaper place. We're going to move this person into the cheaper home. Okay, the last time I heard this happen, within days of moving these people, 2 people out of a home where they were being properly supported for a good long period of time, even though it was expensive, into another home where they were being, you know, basically short-staffed and not supported properly.
Underserved.
Yeah, underserved. One was in a mental health center, and the other one went to another institutional site within days. You know, so that's, and oftentimes what happens then is because then the managed care organization becomes responsible for payment, so then they get on the hook for paying. Because eventually they'll work their way through the system and they'll find out, well, this person has a developmental disability. Why are they in a mental health institute? Then they go to a DD facility like Southern Center, where they're being held for a little bit period of time. That puts the MCO on the hook for the dollars. Then the MCO comes back to the original provider and says, can you take them back? Well, that's a revolving door, and it's all based on dollars. It's not based on people's needs. It's not based on good planning. And that's part of what's wrong with family care is we've kind of thrown the quality part of it out the window. We're supposed to be family care is based on access, quality, cost effectiveness, and one more. I'm blanking on it. But the quality's going out the window.